is the commencement of another rainy season, and there have been reports of significant levels of rainfall across the country. While the rain plays an important role in the development of agriculture, excess rain can also affect the environment negatively. Now, this is because of climate change and its effects on the environment. During the occurrence of rainfall, some public drains sometimes get filled with refuse. And of course, we know the result is flooding. Citizens can contribute significantly to flood control through individual actions and community involvement. On Panorama today, we examine the rainy season and measures towards ensuring flood control. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguilera. The House of Representatives has named a 19-man ad hoc committee of lawmakers to monitor implementation of the state of emergency in Rivers State. House spokesman Akin Rotimi says the ad hoc committee, chaired by House Leader Julius Ihobere, with Minority Whip Ali Issa as deputy chairman, will ensure that governance in Rivers State remains within the bounds of constitutionalism and the rule of law. This development underscores the resolve of the House of Representatives to uphold the supremacy of the Constitution and ensure that extraordinary measures during the emergency period remains subject to legislative oversight, guided by transparency, accountability, and the best interests of the good people of Rivers State. Following Abuja line, the transmission company of Nigeria says with bulk power restored on Abuja transmission line, the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company can now supply electricity to Bayelsa and parts of Rivers States, which have been without supply for 34 days. TCN encourages communities to join in the fight against vandalism of critical power infrastructure in the country. And now to something very crucial. I'm talking about stark images of devastation from the 2024 floods, particularly in Borno and other parts of the country. Reminds us of the sheer destructive force of water. Yet, amidst the lingering effects of the havoc, a crucial question hangs heavy. Have we truly learned from these catastrophic events? With the 2025 rainy season gathering momentum, whispers and reports of distant flash floods echo closer. Are we on the precipice of being caught unprepared? Charles Alpha in this report spotlights the imminent flooding and the critical state of disaster risk management in Nigeria.
And I have nowhere to stay now. I'm staying outside.
Flooding, a reoccurring and increasingly severe environmental hazard causing significant loss of life, displacement of people, damage to infrastructure, and disruption of economic activities. The country's geographical location, characterized by extensive low-lying coastal areas, a dense network of rivers, and heavy seasonal rainfall, reports say, makes it particularly vulnerable to flooding. Rapid urbanization, inadequate drainage systems, deforestation, and the impact of climate change have only made matters worse.
Most one that usually makes a lot of damages is the river flood, which are predicated on two major rivers that are in the country, those within the river Niger corridor and then the river Benue corridor, and then how I will call the urban flood.
While the case of Borno remains fresh in memories, this year it could experience a shorter than normal rainy season. The Nigeria Meteorological Agency 2025 seasonal climate report predicted in early February 2025 provided crucial insights into the expected rainfall patterns and potential flood risk across the country.
There are chances that the rains will come beyond the expected millimeter, and once it comes, it must find a way to go.
We can't prevent that rain from falling. That rain is going to come. What you can reduce the risks of it destroying infrastructure, destroying livelihood, and more importantly, loss of life.
It affects everybody, and the mitigation will have to start from the national.
I think government should educate Nigerians on the risk of blocking drainages.
By taking these proactive steps, individuals and communities in Nigeria can significantly reduce their vulnerability and enhance their resilience to the anticipated flooding in 2025. It requires a collective effort with government, the people, the communities working together to mitigate the potential impacts of these recurring natural hazards. In Abuja, Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Right, thank you, Charles. And to speak further on the issue, we have in the studio Mr. Olamide Fagbuji. He's the SSA to the President on Climate Technology and Operations. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Fagbuji.
Thank you very much, Ruth.
All right, the annual flood outlook for 2025 was unveiled just last week, a few days ago. And of course, we're hearing more than 1,000, local government areas will be affected. What would you say, in terms of preparedness for citizens?
Thank you very much, Ruth, and thank you for having me on the show. The effects of climate change as pertains to flood and disaster risk management are with us now. It's clear and present. What is now happening is something that we were not able to predict before. If you look at the rainfall patterns in 2024, and you can see how this is impacting on livelihoods in Nigeria, you can see that 2025 also will present sort of similar. What we have now is at least early warning mechanism that helps us to be able to at least predict how this is going to impact several areas. The granularity of the information we have now allows us to prepare for this inadvertent loss of property and economic livelihoods. So what communities can do as we as citizens is, I think it will take quite a bit of a mindset shift and behavioral change to make the right changes with waste disposal management, because quite a few issues that that exacerbate the problem of flooding also has to do with proper disposal of waste and environmental management. For instance, we have issues of plastic pollution where improperly disposed plastics are getting into drainage channels and systems. And this is something that we will rely on citizens to sort of be more responsible about and be good environmental stewards. Another thing, sort of a medium-term measure, is that the natural mechanisms for averting some of these disasters is deforestation and urbanization. Urbanization has a key role to play because as buildings come up, a lot of them get on the natural flood drainage system. So this is also something that we need to ensure to make sure that these obstructions do not exacerbate the problem.
Okay, it's good you've mentioned practical steps that citizens can take, in the aspect of preparedness, but also on the government aspect, state level, state government, talking about the subnationals and also the local government areas. What steps can they also take? Because we have the flood risk areas. There's also the challenge of people not wanting to move away from their central homes, even when this awareness comes to them.
Thank you very much for that question. I think as it is, there's a lot that the local government can do and even the subnationals in creating advocacy and improving awareness on what the impacts of this flood disasters can be. Again, the point is there's quite a bit of responsibility on citizens as well as government to provide this level of preparedness. The federal government, as in alignment with the objectives of the Renewed Hope Agenda manifesto of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, has prioritized national adaptation measures that would align with national adaptation plans, which will broadly address issues of national security, economic inclusion and diversity. And with this in mind, most local governments and state subnational governments need to be aligned to this plan. It's a publicly available plan, and implementation-wise, when you look at some of these plans, you'll find that there's a lot of guidance on how to advocate for better mitigation strategies. Also, in building infrastructure, we have to make sure that we're aligned in a way where we're building climate-resilient infrastructure. And referring to the more recently published annual flood outlook, I think this is also a point of reference where affected or local governments that could be affected can actually be given early warning signals.
You know, Mr. Fagbuje, it's one thing to have your plans in place, and we know that the floods are inevitable. Usually we see a reactive kind of measures when these floods have happened and we're seeing the devastating effect. But what can we do differently this year? So we don't reel out those numbers, because these are people who are affected every year, and not just numbers, in terms of strategy, mitigating this disaster.
Okay, so first of all, the fact that the government has rolled out an early warning mechanism and also a vulnerability assessment forecast goes a long way to help to be able to target potential flood risk areas and people who will be affected. Several agencies are equipped and capacitated, mobilized to be able to attend to people who will be in these flood-prone areas. Then even one more program that will go a very long way to sort of cushion the effects of the flooding is the National Flood Insurance Program. And this will be reaching all the way to the grassroots through agricultural extension workers, through the local government councils, to make sure that at the very point of need, people are able to at least have some kind of succor for the loss of their livestock and livelihoods. This program is being piloted already in Kogi and Jigawa states, and a full national rollout will also help to mitigate the issues and the impact of the floods in 2025.
And that's talking about the insurance that NISA came up with for recovery, right?
That's correct.
Okay, but what about the aspect of feedback mechanism over the years when this annual flood outlook is being presented, or NIMET's predictions of the rains? I'm sure there are feedbacks, from what has played out for that year. Will these recommendations or will it be put into place?
Thank you for that question. This is very important. I think the feedback mechanism is pretty much the effects that we're seeing around us right now, apart from the citizens as well, who are sort of at the receiving end of some of these seasonal vulnerabilities and events. So some of the new measures that are being put in place are directly targeting some areas that have already been identified for flooding this year. For instance, with agricultural produce and farmers who might be affected, the message is being amplified to them so that effective measures and adequate measures will be taken to protect them from the effects of the flooding this year.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olumide Fagbuje, right? Thank you so much for your time on Panorama.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
And we hope that, of course, communities put this into consideration, because we know farmers are mostly affected. And we're hearing Jigawa State has launched its 2025 rice production program. Now, you don't want that, being ravaged by the floods, but targeting an annual output of 3.6 million tons. The initiative held in a local government area in the state, where the governor, Umar Namadi, says will support 58,500 farmers across the state. Muhammad Musa Askira reports.
The program was officially kicked off in Jauro village, Awe local government, with input allocations based on beneficiaries' farm sizes, with 58,500 beneficiaries receiving direct support across the state. Stakeholders, including RIFAN and other farmer associations, commended Governor Umar Namadi for his continued investments in agriculture to boost the state's economy. The governor highlighted that over the past 20 months, more than 6,000 tons of fertilizer and large numbers of subsidized farm inputs have been distributed, aiming to expand cultivated land to aid irrigation. 20,000 water pumps, 10,000 solar-powered and 10,000 conventional have been provided. The farmers, grouped in 1,170 clusters, will be supported with 1,700 extension workers providing technical guidance for the farmers across the state. Each of these extension agents have received one motorcycle each to improve mobility and farmer training efforts.
Within our overall vision of the agricultural transformation agenda, our goal for this program is to increase dry season rice production from the current 200,000 hectares to about 500,000 hectares by 2030, and ultimately cultivate 1.2 million hectares annually, expected to contribute at least 3.6 million metric tons to Nigerian rice supply system.
These efforts, stakeholders believe, will revolutionize the Jigawa economy for the better and improve the living standards of people in the state. From Duty, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. With the use of social media on the rise, there is also an increase in the positive and negative results. However, with Nigerian youths leveraging on social media influencing, experts are advocating policies that would not only publicize social media, but also prioritize transparency, authenticity, and ethical practices. Adejoke Odeka reports.
Just like any innovation, social media has both positive and negative results. Over the years, there have been calls from some quarters in various countries for the ban of social media, especially among youths. This, they say, is a step in the right direction to curb the abnormalities inherent in the use of social media. However, it is worthy of note that there are young adults who employ the use of social media to impact lives. What is the impact of social media in the lives of Nigerian youths?
It has negative and positive impact depending on how they are used.
We see the likes of the content creators out there today, students, entrepreneurs, making use of social media as a great tool to expand their businesses.
The tide has turned indeed, as Nigerian youths are leveraging social media to connect, share information, as well as impact lives through advocating social change, raising funds for medical bills, supporting small businesses, assisting victims of violence, and more.
Social media has done a lot of good, and some of the advantages a lot of us can relate with. For example, social media creates connection, helps communication.
We need a much more specific and robust policy that would support the growth of positive activities on social media, like people that do content, useful content. There has to be social media content standards, and this process has to be digitized.
For the people who use social media for the greater good, it is expected that the act would inspire others into doing same. More so, shift the focus from the negative impacts and amplify the productive ones. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
The federal government has pledged commitment to improve road infrastructure across the country for the socio-economic benefits of Nigerians. President Bola Tinubu, who was represented by the Kaduna State Governor, Uba Sani, was speaking at the flag-off of the reconstruction of the 164 kilometers Section 2 of the Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano Road. Kenneth Enanim reports.
The 700-kilometer Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano Road is designed to be reconstructed using the concrete pavement technology that guarantees durability of the road project. President Bola Tinubu, represented by Kaduna State Governor Obasani, re-emphasized the commitment of the federal government towards infrastructure development, especially those that directly impact the lives of citizens, in line with his campaign promises.
When completed, the road will serve as a catalyst for economic growth, creating job opportunities, and significantly enhancing the social, economic, cultural, and political landscape of our communities.
Works Minister David Umahi, who provided more insight on the project, which has sections 1, 2, and 3, explains that the sum of 525 billion naira has been earmarked for the completion of section 2, which is the Abuja-Kaduna Axis. The project, the minister explains, is expected to be delivered within 14 months, having been re-awarded to InfoQuest Construction Company.
At the beginning of section 1, which is between Kogi State and Abuja, the president has also added another 10 kilometers of road to it. He has also added about 11 kilometers at the Kano section of the road to take the road to the Kano International Airport. And that work is going on now, together with the remaining section in Kano State. From the Abuja down to Kano, the entire road, the president also directed that there should be solar light throughout.
This is one of the economic corridors of northern Nigeria. This is a connector of the entire north, and Mr. President is highly committed on this road.
Others who applauded the federal government initiative say upon completion, the roads will reactivate more economic activities in the central and the northern parts of the country and beyond. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And next will be Sports Update.
Defending champions Zamalek of Egypt have retained their trophy as they emerged champions of the 2025 African Women's Volleyball Club Championship after a hard-fought 3-1 victory over Al Ahly Sporting Club of Egypt at the 2025 African Women's Volleyball Club Championship in Abuja. The Zamalek retained the trophy for the third time.
We must express our gratitude to Her Excellency the First Lady, the Grand Patron. She has set a very good record for us, and already CAVB, they are already thinking of making her the Grand Patron of future games, not just for these games.
We received 16 teams from Africa. They are very good facilities, good infrastructure. So congratulations, and I hope next coming years we will host another African nation in beach volleyball or in indoor.
We have achieved it. You can see the crowd today. I've said it, volleyball has come back, and it has come back in Nigeria.
Meanwhile, on March 33 of the Nigerian Premier Football League, Heartland FC claimed victory over Rangers International with a 2-0 away win in the Oriental Derby, securing important bragging rights. The Nazi Millionaires triumphed over Rangers at the Cathedral in Enugu, allowing them to escape the relegation zone. In other matches, newcomers Ikorodu City became the first team to reach 50 goals this season, achieving this milestone with a 3-0 victory against Niger Tornadoes in Lagos. In Olorin, Kwara United faced a disappointing 1-0 home loss to Bendel Insurance, courtesy of Kayode Oke's long goal, while Sunshine Stars defeated Enyimba 2-1. In the North Central Derby, Nasarawa United triumphed over Plateau United with a score of 3-2, while Akwa United drew 1-1 with El Kanem Warriors. Elsewhere, Lobby Stars were the first team to be relegated from the league after a 2-0 defeat to Kano Pillars in Kano. And finally, in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz won the 6th ATP Masters 1000 finals after he fought back to beat Lorenzo Musetti and win the Monte Carlo Masters. The four-time major champion made a slow start but grew in confidence and qualified to overcome Italian 3-6, 6-1, 6-0 on the clay. The success was the 6th ATP Masters 1000 trophy for Alcaraz, his first since Indian Wells last year, and an 18th title overall. Amazongo, NTA News.
And that concludes Panorama. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Enjoy your day.